had some extra stuff to review in executive session. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for Don Pagano, the husband of the retired Secretary from Human Resources who passed away over the weekend, and Richard Safford, retired teacher of 33 years with the district, passed away October 6th. Thank you. 4.01, public comment on agenda items. Seeing none. 4.02, communications and announcements received by the Board of Education. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share? Ms. Kelland?
Okay. We went to the Music Honor Society, which was a very nice ceremony with musical accompaniment, which was very nice at John Jay. And the Capital Improvement Committee took a field trip to visit sites, and it was very constructive and illuminating. And then there was the New York State School Boards Association webinar on relationships with local governments. They had the chairs or presidents of the New York State Association of Towns, the New York State Association of Counties, and the New York State Association of Cities, as well as the New York State Schools Boards Association. And it was very informative to find out which problems we share, and ways we can cooperate better to improve our functioning. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Lumia?
I just want to congratulate all the students at John Jay who were inducted into the Math Honor Society. That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, I want to congratulate.
I can go on.
I want to congratulate the John Jay girls volleyball team for going to the Final Four at New York State for a second year in a row. Although they did not win, we are very, very proud of how far they came. It was a great experience to go and watch them. I want to give a big thank you to Mr. Lumia for speaking at the John Jay Math Honor Society induction for the Board of Education. Some of the members of the Capital Improvement Committee met with some contractors regarding the need of some of the capital improvement projects that were passed, which is going forward. And I want to give Vice President Miggets, she's the chairperson of the Capital Committee, I want to give her a huge thank you. She has been working very hard with Dr. Bach, and all the members of F&O to help move this along for the project that we're working on. I had the honor to say a few words at the John Jay Tri-M induction, and it was truly a talent that our students have just blows me away. It's just very amazing every year to see the level of talent that we have in our district with these students. It's really great. 4.03 would be our student board representatives. Let's see, let's start with Winter this time.
Hello, everyone. Again, it is absolutely great to be here. I really do not have many comments right now. I'd like to reserve most of my comments towards the upcoming presentation. However, again, a huge congratulations to the girls volleyball team. They continue to amaze year after year, and that's just, again, a testament to the hard work of these students. College application season is now in full swing, with students going to their guidance counselors, not necessarily panicking, but very worried. I've been there. We've all been there. it just goes to show how amazing our staff is at dealing with issues like that. They are extraordinarily well equipped. I would like to, I know I can't really mention names, but our college and career counselor, something that we are very privileged to have at John Jay High School, and something that I feel very strongly should be implemented in all high schools. It's extremely, extremely helpful to have that resource who is especially trained in colleges and wherever else one might go. And that is pretty much all I have until the upcoming presentation. Thank you.
Yes.
While I can't speak for any high schools outside of the Wappinger Central School District, both John Jay and Roy C. Ketchum, and I believe by extension Orchard View with access to the John Jay counselor, both of the high schools do have a college counselor.
Yes. Ash.
Hi, I am happy to report that since it's only the first day off of break, we don't have anything much on the agenda except that we just had our Thanksgiving potluck, which since our school is so small and, tight-knit, we get to cafeteria, which is kind of just an office break room, and eat. And all of the teachers bring food, homemade, and it's really nice. That's all I have.
Great. Emma, how's things going over at Ketchum?
They're going pretty well. We will be hosting a holiday craft fair on Saturday, December 6th at Wappinger from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We have our winter concert tomorrow, and next week we will have our 2 Prism concerts. The administration had its 3rd podcast session. You guys can find that on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And winter sports have just completed our tryouts, and we will have games starting soon.
Awesome. That being said, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Bonk for his superintendent report.
Thank you, President Johnson and Board of Education members of the Wappinger Central School District Learning Community. Before we get to Dr. Cardwell, who's going to talk about our high school graduation rates and our assessments, some of you may be wondering about tomorrow. I'm wondering as well. We're expecting some inclement weather, and the latest forecast had us anywhere between 2 to 5 inches of snow. So I will be up tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock speaking with the meteorologist and taking a look at the weather conditions in the forecast. And I hope to make a determination in regards to the schedule for tomorrow, no later than I hope 4:30 a.m. Thank you. Dr. Cardwell?
Good evening, Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Bonk. It is a pleasure to be here this evening. Today we have our annual presentation of graduation rates and assessment data. Got it. So the Wappinger Central School District has continued to have consistent graduation rates of approximately 92% for the past 5 years. This has been a lot of work on behalf of the high schools, their administration, their teachers, their counselors, in really working with their cohorts to develop cohort data teams to review student progress, to identify students who are potentially at risk of graduating and putting supports in place as early as freshman year. This work continues each year at each of the high schools. So a lot of this work definitely goes to the high schools for their work in supporting students, all students. So one of the things I thought was interesting when we're looking at the graduation rates is to talk about the different types of diplomas that we offer our students. So we offer 3 different types of Regents exams currently. We offer the Regents, Advanced Regents Diploma, the Regents Diploma, and a local diploma. On the chart that you see, Wappingers is listed in the yellow where New York State is in the blue. Wappingers has, out of the 91% of students who graduate, 46% of those students graduate with an Advanced Regents Diploma, and 44% of the students graduate with a Regents Diploma. One of the things that we also offer are different types of pathways for students to graduate, and those are also listed. So we have students that are either specializing in humanities or math or science, or even the CDOS. They could graduate with either a seal on their report card or a graduation pathway. So when we're looking at our data, it's important to look at it from not just 3 through 8 or 9 through 12, but really look at it as a continuum. And so that's why we consolidated the 2 different presentations into one, so we can see the continuum of how students progress. We are first looking at English language arts, and this is data from back in the spring of 2025. Our students in grades 3 through 8, they do take computer-based assessments for ELA, math, and science. And so we have the different passing proficiency rates for grades 3 through 8. It's actually easier to read in a chart form, so I took the information that was in the graphs and I put it into a table to make it easier to read. So proficiency is students that score levels 3 and 4, and that information is identified for grades 3 through 8. And also listed for reference are the Dutchess County percentages as well. Some of the curriculum and instructional priorities that we have for grades 3 through 8 is really focusing on the science of reading and the literacy initiatives by New York State. We're focusing on improving our phonics instruction. This year, our grades 3 is really ramping up our new phonics program, district-created phonics program for those students in the 3rd grade, and also students who are struggling with phonics in the 4th grade and beyond. We're also focusing a lot on writing. We know that as part of the literacy initiative from New York State, there's a strong focus on writing. Writing is important and is essential on each of the assessments that the students take. So we have started last year with a K through 2 writing units. This year, grades 3 through 5 are focusing on new writing units this year. We have our 2 ELA reading professional development specialists that are working with the teachers and providing them with support and professional development, either individually by modeling lessons in their classrooms and/or during grade level meetings. We also have an increased focus on a response to intervention and MTSS. We are looking at providing professional development to our AIS teachers, improving small group instruction, and really targeting areas and skills that students are struggling in. For the English region, so you have 3 years of data that are on the screen. English continues to be one of our highest performing Regents exams that we have at our high schools. When we're looking at the data, this is a chart of some of the data we use to help us determine how well our curriculum is meeting the needs of our students. So each of these dots, the district represents the red dots, the regions are the represents a different question on the exam or a different standard. And then this lets us know what particular areas we are doing well in and what areas we might need additional support. It also allows us to go back and look at those questions. So if we see questions such as the two that are over on the right-hand side, with those we have a lot of students that are performing that are getting low scores in those areas, we look at those questions and see, well, what types of questions are they asking? And how can we better prepare our students? For the grades 3 through 8 and the algebra data, it's listed here in chart form, but more easily read in the chart that we have. And usually we don't compare 3 through 8 with algebra, but I think it's important here that we're looking at the continuum of instruction that takes place in mathematics across the district. So I just want to explain that in grades 3 through 8, proficiency is levels 3 and 4. However, with ninth grade, levels 3, 4, and 5 are passing, and that's what's determined by New York State. So we have information up here for the district for each grade and also Dutchess County. So for grades 3 through 8, our instructional priorities continue to be the MTSS and the RTI that we're offering our students. We're spending a lot of time on our Tier 1. That's the instruction that takes place for all students inside all classrooms. We're focusing on Tier 2, which is that small group instruction that's either happening inside the classroom and or by an AIS teacher in a pull-out model. And also focusing on Tier 2 and Tier 3, which are your smaller groups and or your one-on-one instruction for those really struggling students who need specific support in a particular skill. For algebra, algebra continues to be one of the Regents exams that not only students in Wappingers are struggling with, but students across New York State are struggling with. We noticed that we have our passing rates and our mastery rates for 2 years listed. Some of our action items that we have is we're focusing on our Regents prep for January and June. For this January, our Regents prep sessions will actually start probably next week. We've already started reaching out to teachers to find out who's able to provide that type of Regents prep for students. We are piloting iReady curriculum at the middle school in grade 7. That is a program we started grades K through 6 and has been proven successful. So we're looking to see if that is something we can continue up into the junior high schools. We're focusing on fact fluency. And we're also continuing to partner with BOCES and having them send over a secondary math specialist to work with our teachers on building thinking classrooms and to focus on those best practices for teachers to use in their classrooms. We're also started to increase enrollment in algebra AIS sections. And one thing that's new this year is through BOCES, we are having an organization called Think Tech work with the district in helping to create assessments that mirror either the Regents exams questions or the 3 through 8 questions that are aligned to the standards, so we can continue to provide our students with academic support and instruction that's based on the standards. And will also allow us to see what areas our students might be struggling in prior to getting to a Regents exam. So we can give them assessments throughout the year while they're in their classrooms that's aligned to the standards and prepare them to be stronger math students. This is an example of data from the algebra regions. We have 2 years of data here. This allows us to see again what types of questions are answered or asked on each of the Regents exams and how our students are performing. You will notice again that our students are performing similarly on each question as students across the region. So whereas this data does help us in determining how we can continue to improve, if there are items that we see where the district is either underperforming or outperforming the region, it gives us additional information on what we're doing well or what we can continue to work on to improve. Geometry is next on our list. We have 2 years of data. You will notice for the number of students that are taking the geometry Regents exam, the number is much lower than those students that are taking the algebra exam. So for example, if I go back, there were a total of 905 students that took the algebra 1 exam in June. But if we look at the June 2024, we had 939 students, and those students would be eligible to take the geometry Regents in June 2025, and we just had under 700 students that are taking the geometry Regents. And many of you might be asking, well, why is that number much lower? And that's because students are required to take and pass the algebra Regents, but they're not required to take the geometry Regents. And some of the students are opting not to take the geometry Regents because they don't have to take it to graduate, and they are focusing on either other Regents exams or other pathways. This is another type of report that we look at to do data analysis. Yes, I know there's a lot of numbers you might not necessarily be able to see, but I wanted to give you an example. This type of report gives us a percentage of students who earn points on a particular question. And then we're able to see which are the types of questions, the standards that our students are doing well in versus those that students are not doing well in. And then we look to see where that standard and or skill is taught in the curriculum and what we can do differently each year to help the students perform better and become better mathematicians. We have our Algebra 2 data. Once again, you will notice that the total number of exams is just above 400, which is again much lower than our algebra Regents for the same reasons. Living environment and biology. So in June was the first administration of the biology Regents and also the earth and space science Regents exams. What we noticed, not only in Wappingers, but in New York State and most of the districts that I've spoken to, we found that these Regents exams focused a lot on literacy. And one of the things that we prepared our students for the summer when some of the students had to retake the Regents exam, and or we're preparing them for the Regents exam this January and also again in June, is really focusing on literacy in the content areas. This is the earth science data. Another chart. Chemistry and physics are upper level science classes. Global history, also performing very well. And US history. And that's the end of the presentation. While everyone comes up to get their seats, I did want to just inform the board that board members that are not on the curriculum committee meeting, there is a curriculum committee meeting scheduled for Thursday. this Thursday, December 4th. The topic of the curriculum committee is going to be on Algebra 1. We will have Director Adam Panzer and some secondary teachers present, and they will provide the curriculum committee members with a presentation on the instruction and the materials that are being used in Algebra 1 and how they are supporting our students in the Algebra 1 classes.
Thank you, Dr. Cardwell. That was an amazing presentation. I'd like to just reiterate, I know a lot of us don't, it's been a long time out of COVID, but it hasn't been that long. And on the math and algebra proficiency, where you put ninth grade in the bottom there, and I would like to point out grades 3 through 8, I see a significant difference between the students in our district versus the county. We are scoring much higher, which is great news. Ninth grade is pretty much right on target with each other. The ninth graders were, if I'm not mistaken, that would have been when COVID hit, they were in their fundamentals. Like that's where they were learning the fundamentals. So I know that we have made great strides in learning loss makeup, but I don't know if we can always make up everything. So I do see where we're starting to see a difference with the students that have had those fundamentals really going forward. And I look forward to Thursday's meeting, yes. Who has questions? Mr. Lumia, I never would have guessed.
First of all, looking at some of these charts, I spent a lot of time today basically on mathematics. That's my forte. Unfortunately, or whatever, fortunately be the case. But just a few general questions. I noticed that the graduation rate for the diploma, what exactly, I should know, but I forgot, what exactly is required for the Regions Advanced Region Diploma?
So for the Advanced Regions Diploma, you need to have, of course, the 5 regions exam, your English, your math, your social studies, but you also need a sequence in math and also in science. So you need additional math and additional science, as well as the foreign language sequence.
Is there a reason why, if you look at the regions, that the state, more kids at the state level are taking regions than us? Is there a reason for that? I don't know if you can know that or not.
So if you look, we have 46% of our students who graduate that are graduating with the Advanced Regions Diploma. So the Advanced Regions Diploma, we have more students graduating with that than New York State. So percentage-wise, it makes sense that we have a lower Regents diploma graduation rate because we have a higher advanced, right?
Maybe we can incorporate that into that chart. I understand that. Thank you. So far as the English language arts, I guess I'm not an English major, but just let me go back to that chart if I may. English, if you look at the English at 24, 23, 24, 24, 25, there's a significant drop in the number of people passing the regions and the number of people at the mastery level. Do we know a reason for that?
Well, when we're looking at the data to determine how the students are performing, that gives us information on how well the students are doing. So we're able to look to see, are they losing points on the essays? Are they losing points on the multiple choice? And then that gives us an opportunity to then where we need to do better, or was the test just a more difficult exam than in previous years?
Okay, thank you. Just a couple more. And so far as the, first of all, in the elementary level, I'm glad that kids are doing rather well from 3 to 8 at the mastery level, which is very good. And so far as the algebra regions, I noticed that the passing rate is at the 60. Went down from 24 to 2024 to 2025. The passing rate in 2025 was 60%, and the mastery level 14%. Now, there's a misconception about exactly what getting a 65 really entails. The cut scores, which have been in existence since 2008, which I think is dumbing down education. But a cut score in 2020 in the Algebra 1 was 29 out of 87 points. If a kid got a 29 points on the out of possibility 7, he passed the Regents. That to me is terrible. Now, we are doing better than the other districts, but that to me is not good enough. At the mastery level, it's even worse. But it seems to me that we got to do something better. But kids got to be able to pass on their own and not by stupid cut scores. They're dumbing down education. They really are. I mean, can you imagine getting 29 out of 87 in passing? That's crazy. The same thing can be said in geometry. The cut score to get in order to pass the Regents, you got to get 35 out of 87 points, which means if you get 40% of the score of the questions correct, you passed. Again, the mastery levels is not what it should be. Now, I'm glad that there was an analysis, I have analysis done on that particular geometry Regents. It appears that on the 2-point questions, students that getting the credit was between 21% and 74% getting the 2 points. Does the Regent, question I have, does the Regent the Regent questions asked, does that reflect in the curriculum? I mean, I just don't understand. I really don't.
Mr. Lumia, we're running out of time,
Well,
so
I know
I
you-
would,
I-
I would
I-
like to say that we can definitely get into a deeper conversation on those at the curriculum committee, because the cut scores were
no, I-
not even part of the presentation, so I
I'm
don't
so-
want to confuse people.
I'm sorry, but I think these conversations occur at this because it seems to me this is what the education should be all about.
I
Unless we
understand,
have
but
deep
you're
discussion at this
discussing
table-
stuff that we don't have access to, so it's a little bit of a disadvantage. Before we get into the 2 questions, can I extend time for 10 minutes? Do I have Mr. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. I just wanted to get that done.
Can
Miss-
I just continue for a few more things if you don't
Well,
mind?
well, you've taken up 10 minutes. I think, can we get to some other people first and then come back?
8 minutes for Mr. Lumia and 2 minutes for
That's right.
I would like to give-
look,
I understand.
I've
I'd
been
like
on
to
this
give
board for
others a
18
question
years,
and
and I'm
then,
very frustrated. Every single year, we get the same reports, and I get very frustrated because we don't get enough
Lumia?
discussions on these topics.
Mr. Lumia, I'd like, if we have time
Okay,
at the
that's
end, we'll
fine.
come back. Miss
I'll give-
Miggett's had her
I'll-
hand up first and then Miss
I'll
Kellen.
give these questions to Dr.
Thank you.
Cardwell. Maybe her and I can have a discussion.
Dr. Cardwell, I noticed that there's a significant drop between the 2024 and 2025 results, both for passing and mastery in the living environment and the earth science regents. Is that possibly showing a correlation between the unfamiliarity with the new test format and those exams?
Yes, that is exactly correct. In the conversations that we've had with our teachers and in conversations that I've had with my colleagues across the county and the region, that we, meaning all students and teachers that are taught those subjects, did not realize the amount of literacy that was going to be on the Regents exam. It focused less on content and more on literacy. So knowing what we know now, we decided to correct that and provide additional instruction on literacy in the content areas.
Miss Kellen?
To follow up on that question, all teachers teach reading and writing. And perhaps we need, as well as letting science and math and other teachers know on the secondary level that they have to be teaching reading and writing also, we should make an effort in the grades 4 through 6 to also stress giving time for reading and writing in the subject areas. And my second question is, I'd like to defer to Mr. Lumia, who's an expert at math, to find out what else he was going to say.
Well, we had a couple other questions. We will definitely get Mr. Lumia. Miss Winter?
Thank you. Yeah, no, I had a very quick question regarding the both The English language proficiency exam through grades 3 through 8, and the math and algebra proficiency data for grades 3 through 8. If we look at the data here, there is a quite significant drop in the district level between 6th and 7th grade in both language arts and math. I was just wondering if there were any steps being taken specifically in the middle schools to mitigate this gap.
So some of that could definitely come from the change in how the instruction is being taught. So you have students going from elementary to secondary level. We are piloting a new math program at the 7th grade, iReady Classroom. It is what K through 6 just went to, so we're hoping that that will also help improve math scores. We also have, and not sure how much this would impact some of this data, we do have a higher level of students that are not taking the assessment at 7th grade and 8th grade, and/or are taking only one day and not the second day. And if that happens, the students are automatically getting the lowest score. So those items can negatively impact the results.
Perfect, thank you.
Mr. Morgan?
Thank you both for the presentation and, in speaking to it, obviously your encyclopedic knowledge of the data. To demonstrate that I do not have that, could you explain to me or just tell me what is MTSS an acronym for? I got a bunch of the other ones, but I missed that one.
My apologies. Multi-tiered systems of support. So MTSS is similar to RTI, which is response to intervention, but it also includes an academic and a behavior and a social, emotional, student health and wellness component to it. So when you're looking at supports for a student, you're not just focusing on an academic aspect, but you're focusing on the whole child, knowing that a student's behavior may be impacted by other areas, or a student's academic might be impacted because of a student's behavior. So you're addressing all of those challenges at the same time in order to provide the right supports to the students.
Okay, thank you. This was touched on very briefly earlier, but the living environment exam in particular, if I'm recalling correctly, I'm going to try to put this delicately, but were there a lot of questions about the questions on that exam in particular that prompted, I believe, a letter that you and people in a similar position in many school districts signed and sent to the state? Am I recalling that correct?
Yes, that's correct. There was a lot of conversation between many districts about the exam, and that we did not think that what was provided to the district to prepare the students adequately reflected what the exam actually was.
Okay. I believe the graph, I think this is like a gap analysis. So if we're comparing, in this case, the 24-25 school year with the 23-24 school year, this is, even with my glasses, this is too small for me to read. Mrs. Johnson will get a kick out of this. My wife is much younger and could probably read this. But anyway, is this standard the same as this one? And so is the graph informative, or is this like the order of the questions, and it's more difficult and nuanced to draw the conclusion that I am hoping would be easy to draw?
Yeah, no, it doesn't always line up. Sometimes it lines up accurately. So we actually take the data and the actual test questions, and we sit and we look at it and we do that work on a bigger screen. And we do have data that's different, that actually outlines the standards. And so we're actually able to see it much better.
And I think you had one slide in there that, yeah, this one.
Yeah, that gave a little more detail, yes.
Right, okay. And then I guess my final comment and not question is that, as a district, it's clear, although there are different data points that compare us to the region, different data points that compare us to the county, and some data points that compare us to the state. But generally speaking, and even with the gap analysis on a subject, subject by sub-subject basis, we are doing at least as well, if not better, than whichever peer group you want to be stacked up against within New York, which is great. Keep that up, please. And I'm sure that you will, and that the staff will. At the same point in time, I'm reminded of a sports quote about referees and officials by Super Bowl winning New York Giants general manager George Young, that said that they're expected to start out perfect and then improve from there. So we certainly encourage ongoing improvement. Thank you for all the information and bearing with some of my questions that aren't rooted in your knowledge of the subject. Thank you.
We have about 2 minutes left. Mr. Lumia, the floor is yours. She just gave me my 2-minute warning.
Oh, look, there's a disconnect between the region's questions, the curriculum that the teachers are asked to teach. We have to find out why that is. It seems to me, look, I took the test. I should be able to get the answers, obviously. But when I take a test, I look at the students I used to have. Can my students, when I taught, be able to answer that question? And it seems to me that the disconnect between what the region's questions are and what the curriculum is, and something's got to be done. I'm glad this coming Thursday we're going to have a teacher to look at the Algebra 1. Yeah, I'd like to have done Algebra 2, as well as geometry. There is a gap, people taking Algebra 1 to geometry, a big drop. And from geometry to Algebra 2 is a big drop again. Obviously, students don't have to take those courses, but we should be encouraging those students. Why are they not taking those courses? Because once they get into college, they have to take remedial courses. And that bothers me. We should be encouraging kids to take more math courses. But again, I like to look at this. Is there a disconnect between the curriculum and the type of question they ask these students? There's got to be. I can't see why they're doing so poorly. I'm sorry. And the cut scores are dumbing down education, in my opinion. Kids should be able to pass on their own.
So one of the things that, so New York State
Can I make a
Education
motion to
Department.
extend
Can we
the time
extend
for
it
5
for
more minutes?
5 more minutes? Yeah, Mr. Morgan, second. Ms. Miggis, all in favor? Thank you. Go ahead, Ms.
So just for clarification purposes, and I know everyone at the dais understands this, but for the people watching at home. So the New York State Department of Education sets the cut scores, and everyone in New York State uses those cut scores and the conversion charts to give students their grades on the Regents exams. Wappingers does not have anything to do with those cut scores. Everyone in New York State uses them. So just as a point of clarification. Now, when we are looking at Wappinger scores compared to Dutchess County, compared to the region, and compared to New York State, as Mr. Morgan said, we are comparable with our peers. However, that's not enough for us. So I agree with Mr. Lumia. Yes, we can do better. And we are working on doing better. And hopefully you'll get many of your questions answered on Thursday when the curriculum committee meets. But it's important for us to say if everyone across New York State has similar scores, it's not necessarily the Wappingers curriculum that is at a default. There could be a misalignment with the Regents' questions and what we're asking the students. And those are some things that we can continue to look at with the teachers. But I think that this is far above a Wappingers concern. Whereas, yes, we want our students to do better and to do well. And we are very proud of our graduation rate and the number of students getting advanced Regents diploma. But we always set the bar high, like 100%. That's where we want to start at, right? And then work from there. But I look forward to continuing the conversations.
The cut scores are set by the state. There's no question about it. We have nothing to do with the cut scores, and we do better than most schools. To me, that's not good enough, in my opinion. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Winter, you had a follow-up?
I absolutely did. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I am, one of the 3 people at this table who has been in a room with these teachers every single day for the past, 4 or 5 years? Longer, because I've been in Wappinger Central School District my whole life. And I can say that with confidence, the teachers do the best they can with the resources they're given. And I want to make it very, very clear. I do have a very quick point on Mr. Morgan's point. The living environment regents, as I've heard from both other fellow students of mine and from teachers, as well as the earth science regents, was unexpected in its form. And I just definitely want to corroborate that. But again, I think it's really important that we realize that, what we are doing as a district and how we are going about this, we got to take it into consideration with how the teachers are doing. As frustrated as you are, Mr. Lumia, with the cut scores, it's important to realize that these teachers are doing the best they can with what they're given. And I think that, if we want to perhaps make steps to move in a better direction, that has to start with us.
Thank you very much. Mr. Morgan?
A lot of the issues that people have expressed frustration or lack of satisfaction with, and Dr. Cardwell said this, is not a Wappinger Central School District issue. It starts and probably almost ends within close proximity to Albany, New York. I've used this example before when Mr. Loomy has talked about cut scores. My wife in a different school district teaches 3rd grade. She comes home every year from the ELA exam and says, oh, well, today my 3rd grade students were given a reading passage at like the 6th or 7th grade level and then asked questions about that. What are we trying to prove in administering these tests? That 3rd graders can't read at a 7th grade level? As I've said before, I'm no expert on this stuff, but I know that, for crying out loud. But expressing the frustration here, I think is a little bit of time misspent.
Okay,
Is that
everyone,
frustration?
we've
And I'll
extended
end on
time
that.
and our time is up. I think, is it a question?
No comment.
Okay, extend time for 2 minutes. Do I have a second? Ms. Mondesando, all in favor? 2 minutes. Ms.
right.
Kellen?
Mr. Morgan is absolutely correct. The tests are, the Regents tests are norm rated and a curve. And in order to get a curve, you need questions that some of the children can only get by guessing. And there's others that are so simple, almost everybody can do. The purpose of this curriculum is to test people on what you teach. That's what the Regents exams were like in the olden days, as my kids call it, when I went to school. And if you studied carefully and really learned it on the Regents exam, you saw questions that someone at your grade level who had done the curriculum and paid attention in class and did your work should be able to do. And so therefore, the tests had more relationship to the curriculum. I don't know why the Regents and the State Board of Regents has decided for many years now that they prefer having a curve, whether it has any relationship to the curriculum or not. But it's not good for the kids. They're taught that that studying in class has very little relationship to what you get on the exams.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. Thank you, Dr. Cardwell. 6.01, consent agenda resolution. Does anybody wish to pull anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the following consent agenda items as stated: 6.02, 6.03, 6.04, 6.05, 6.06, 6.07, 6.08, 6.09, 6.10, 6.11, and 6.12.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Lumia, second, Ms. Kellen. All those in favor? Unanimous. 7.01, appointment of members of the 25-26 district-wide school safety team.
Whereas the Board of Education of the Wappinger Central School District is committed to ensuring and maintaining a safe school environment for all students, staff, and visitors, and whereas on July 1st, 2016, the New York State Education Department amended Section 155.17 of the Regulations of the Commissioner of Education regarding school safety plans and mandated that the district-wide safety plan be developed by the district-wide safety team and updated annually and be available for public comment at least 30 days prior to adoption. Whereas Section 2801-A4 of the New York State Education Law mandates that each district-wide safety team shall be appointed annually by the Board of Education, and whereas the district-wide safety team shall include but not be limited to representatives of the school board, teacher, administrator, and parent organizations, school safety personnel, and other school personnel, including bus drivers and monitors. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, hereby appoints the members of the Wappingers District-wide School Safety Team as stated.
Do I have a motion? Ms. Kellen, second. Mr. McFarland. Is there any discussion? Mr. Morgan?
Thank you to our district administration for the work that's already gone into assembling this committee that stems from central office staff to building level leadership, building teachers and monitors and bus drivers, people from outside the district, including from Putnam, Northern Westchester, BOCES, who often serves in a consultative role with the district on safety matters, deputy sheriffs, our bus vendor even is represented as our school resource officers. This is a very strong committee. I wouldn't want to try to attend that meeting and get a word in edgewise, but it's a strong group, and thank you for the work that's already gone into the plan.
Thank you. Does you want to add some? You can, I would suggest calling Mr. Lokema to find out about that. Because he would have to apply for that. All those in favor? Unanimous. 8.01, board members may request an additional agenda item, discussion item. Trustee Miggets?
Yes, I would like to request an addition to the agenda, results of a short-term suspension appeal.
Do I have a second? Mr. Lumia, all those in favor to add the agenda item? Unanimous. 8.03. Right? Yeah.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby upholds the decision of the Superintendent of Schools dated 11/17/2025, which endorsed the suspension imposed by the principal dated 11/12/2025 regarding student number 120125B, and be it further resolved that the Board President is hereby authorized to sign the Board Determination Letter on behalf of the Board of Education, and be it further resolved that the District Clerk is hereby authorized to mail the Board Determination Letter to the students' parents.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Lumia, second. Mr. Capolari. All those in favor? Unanimous. 9.01, communications from the public. Seeing none. 10.01, board president, oh, that's me. Can I ask for an adjournment?
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby adjourn the December 1st, 2025 Board of Education meeting. The time is 8:42.
Motion, Mr. Lumia, second. Mr. Capolari, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Everyone have a nice weekend.